What's up, Random Phantom? How's it going? Hope you guys are doing well. Today we're about to get into the latest breakdown from new Rockstars. This time for the finale for Marvel's What If, Episode 9. Real quick thoughts right before we get into this. I absolutely love this finale. Was a little bit short. Could have been a bit longer. Probably the only negative of it, but What If was a fun show. There was a couple of episodes that were just meh, but out of the whole thing, it was actually pretty good. It was pretty good. So anyways, let's get into the breakdown, and we'll have my more official thoughts about it afterwards, and I'll probably talk about what he has to say throughout. So let's get into it.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and this is a breakdown of Marvel's What If Episode 9. What if the Watcher broke his oath? A season finale that assembles the Guardians of the Multiverse to avenge Vegas?
That's funny.
As always, this episode was filled with interesting details and connections to the live-action MCU with major implications for the multiverse going forward, so I'm going to break it all down frame by frame for everything that you might have missed. We open with Captain Carter after her jump to the present era in Episode 1, following in the footsteps of Steve Rogers and the Lemurian Star mission for the
That was neat. That was neat.
Winter Soldier. Peggy now wears the blue and white stealth suit that Steve wore, but with a Union Jack pattern across the chest instead, and Natasha has a shorter haircut that she had in that film. Their target is once again Batroc, except before it was Rumlow freezing everyone.
How many pirates?
25. Top mercs led by this guy, George Batroc.
Okay.
How many pirates? 20 or so charmers, led by this one, Batroc.
In the film, we later learned that Nick Fury actually hired Batroc to hijack the Lemurian Star because he was suspicious of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s true intentions for Project Insight, and he secretly ordered Natasha to steal data from those computers.
I'm tired of being Fury's janitor.
Relax, it's not that complicated.
So now, Peggy leading the briefing suggests that this is her mission, not Fury's operation, which might be why the cargo is different from Project Insight-related stuff. As we learn in the post-credit scene, her, Steve Rogers' old Hydra Stomper armor with someone inside, and you can see biometrics over on the left, so that someone is alive. But
That's cool.
S.H.I.E.L.D. was
Did not notice that.
corrupted by Hydra at this point. This Hydra Stomper could have been part of Hydra's Winter Soldier program, since if you think about it, Steve did kind of take Bucky's place back in Episode 1, and it would be one way of explaining how Steve survived this long. Setting up poor Peggy in this awkward conflict now with Steve Rogers in a kind of iron lung brainwashed by Hydra. Now here's the variant Captain Carter theme from Episode 1.
Gentlemen, watch your six.
Strike team, you heard the captain. Gear up.
This episode is actually great with musical leitmotifs, including the piano rendition of Steve's theme.
And there's someone inside.
The Guardians theme.
Stay here. Leave this fight to us.
Killmonger's theme. Doctor Strange's theme. And the Avengers theme. Just as Natasha tried to hook up Steve with Kristen from Statistics, Natasha does the same with Peggy.
You know, Bernard in accounting was asking about you. Nothing good has ever followed the phrase Bernard in accounting.
Bernard, accountants make great partners, Peggy.
Nothing good has ever followed the phrase Bernard in accounting.
Especially Bernard is Adam Bernard Brashear Blue Marble, because if so, you gotta get on that. But Natasha says,
What if his name was Steve? Ouch! Just when we were becoming pals, widow.
yeah, Peggy is still sore over never getting that dance with Steve Rogers, which she brings up again when she tells Batroc she's a pretty good dancer. And when Peggy catches her shield, it kicks off a little puff of vapor slicing through the night air. And in this thick sea layer, with eyes gleaming to match the bright full moon, is the Watcher.
Captain Carter, the soldier lost in time. You have been chosen.
So yes, the Watcher is recruiting a dream team to save the multiverse. That comes from What If number 39, What If the Watcher Saved the Universe, in which he forms a team consisting of Thor, an android Iron Man, Doctor Doom from the Fantastic Five, and Vampire Wolverine. And from this we kaleidoscope wipe over to the
Fantastic
Dairy
Five.
Queen in Missouri from Episode 2, as well as the Guardians Volume 2 film. Here we see Ego linking with Peter Quill to form the expansion from that film, but T'Challa's ship, the Mandela, actually leads the other Ravager's ship in the strike, and Ego says,
Relax, son. It'll all be over in 1,000 years or so.
just a reminder of Ego's plan in that film to use Quill as a 1,000-year battery.
I wanted to do this together. And I suppose you'll have to learn by spending the next 1,000 years as a battery.
And then on to Nidavellir, of course, the weapons forgery from Infinity War, where Gamora is carrying Thanos' double-bladed sword and wears the armor that she wore in 2014 in Endgame, as well as Eitri and Tony Stark in the Hulkbuster armor with Sakaar decor. The three of them melting the Infinity Gauntlet. I really wanted it to do a T2 thumbs up on the way down. But apparently this is the aftermath of an episode that was delayed to season 2, which would have shown Gamora killing Thanos on Sakaar. They say it was delayed because of COVID. I call bullshit. Producing animation remotely, it's not like trying to do live action remotely. They totally could have got it done. There was some plot reason that they delayed it, I'm telling you. I think this plot would have involved Tony Stark in Age of Ultron Hulkbuster armor, taking Hulk's place on the Quinjet to Sakaar, and maybe Thanos sacrificing Nebula on Vormir instead of Gamora so that Peter Quill didn't stupidly break his trance, and they could have stopped Thanos earlier. Another possibility is that Stark could have gotten stuck on the other side of that wormhole in the first Avengers film when he nukes Thanos' forces, and then maybe got stranded on Sakaar, and had to build that Hulkbuster armor from scratch in a dump the pile scraps. Now notice Eitri still has his hands, whereas in the main MCU continuity, Thanos cut off his hands right after he forged that gauntlet that they're currently melting and cast the stumps in Uru. So something changed. Maybe they used a reality stone to bring his hands back before pulverizing the stones with the Infinity Crusher, or the animators didn't give a shit. Now Tony's armor has some upgrades, including some huge discs on the shoulders. Maybe these are the sonic cannons from his designs that were used to subdue Hulk in the 2008 film, and were actually later added to his drones in Spider-Man Far From Home. Also, there are 3 claws on each fist. Did Tony run into Wolverine? Is that why this episode was delayed to season 2? Oh my god. But this would have been the one episode of the season to spare Tony Stark's life, and here he says,
how do we put a suit of armor around the world? Around the galaxy? You can't tell me there's not another big bad lurking in the shadows, monster under the bed.
Always with that suit of armor. It's like his only metaphor. Now, Gamora sees this big bad as the Watcher reflected in Tony's Sicarian plating, but I think this line was added to redirect this delayed episode as one setting up the season 1 finale to instead one connected to season 2 and whatever season 2's new multiversal big bad will be. Now, while Kang seems like a good bet, I think the other Watchers with whom Uatu made his oath and now broke that oath, coming to seek accountability, could also be the possible new big bad. Shuri and Pepper lead the Dora Milaje against Killmonger from episode 6. Pepper wielding that gun that looks like the one based on the Asgardian Destroyer armor that Coulson wielded in the first Avengers film. And Shuri wielding her vibranium gauntlets from Black Panther, weaponizing those alongside a refusal to get vaccinated. The Watcher recruits Killmonger,
Eric Stevens. Killmonger. Tony Stark's former protege and killer.
Yeah, the Watcher's eyes narrow on Killer, showing that the Watcher probably knows he cannot trust Killmonger, and it is Killmonger's traitorous behavior that is why the Watcher probably needs him on his team. Now, in Vegas, Thor wrestles Ultron sentries following Ultron's arrival in episode 7. Nobody messes with Vegas.
Nobody.
Yeah, I like how the frame initially pans over to just show part of the Watcher in the sky, as opposed to the clear, decisive reveal shots for all the other recruits. Just shows how Party Thor is super distracted. So the Watcher reaches down to grab him like a toy.
You've been chosen.
Yeah, he's still screaming all the way to his new location, just as he does in Ragnarok in the Grandmaster's Palace. But more importantly, he continues to clutch that severed Ultron sentry head, which Killmonger later uses. So, you could argue catching Thor off guard just like this was also part of the Watcher's master plan. He needed that head in Killmonger's hand. They were transported to the same pub that Peggy and Steve got a drink in episode 1. Thor orders a beer from Doctor Strange, just like he gets one from him in Ragnarok. And then he chugs and smashes it just as he does pretty much every drink in his hand. The Watcher explains,
At first, I scoured eternity for one true hero. Then I saw the bigger picture. This mission requires a team, the perfect combination of skills and experience that alone will triumph.
So the Watcher needs more than just one or even 1,000 cosmically powerful warriors. Really, he needs a specific ragtag group of underdogs that Ultron would underestimate, but also one of whom would betray the rest and allow the stones to be sequestered. So this isn't a true dream team, it's really a band of misfits, like the Guardians of the Galaxy, which is what he calls them.
You are the guardian.
That's a good point.
Of the multiverse.
That is an excellent
Thor
point.
tries to lead. Outside the bar is this swirling storm, the pub exterior made up of Doctor Strange's eldritch magic and a clockwork grid. I love the production design here. It kind of looks like Strange hid them in a dimension between realities, like the surreal zones that he zipped through in the Doctor Strange film, same imagery used in the No Way Home trailer. The gold and color palette does match the portal through which Wanda Maximoff saw her future Scarlet Witch self. I just think this may be the same kind of setting that Multiverse of Madness takes place in. Familiar fragments of broken realities reconstructed amidst a chaotic hellstorm. Doctor Strange explains,
6 stones of near unfathomable power, each controlling an essential aspect of our existence.
Yes, it's the same lecture that Wong explains to Stark in Infinity War.
Big bangs and 6 elemental crystals. These infinity stones each control an essential aspect of existence.
As they discuss the mission, Killmonger is almost always staring at the Ultron Sentry head. Now, this head is probably made of vibranium, as all the final form Ultrons were, which is the same as Killmonger's suit, which that hum that we heard earlier indicated.
All good questions.
They order Chinese takeout, just like the Avengers do when brainstorming the time heist in Endgame, and Gamora presents the Infinity Crusher, a device of Nidavelirian design with gears like a rock grinder.
The Infinity Crusher, designed to disintegrate each stone into nothing.
Now, Infinity Stones, according to Endgame directors, cannot be fully destroyed, since Infinity Stones are needed to maintain a universe's proper flow of time, but they can be atomized and prevented from actual use. That's likely what this crusher does. Thor says,
Slow down a little bit. There's a few people in the room who don't understand. Not me, I get it, but for them, maybe repeat it.
You're ready.
and the Watcher decides they're ready in spite of Thor's dumb statement here. This shows that he's actually counting on Thor, Leroy Jenkins scene, into this mission to lure Thanos into underestimating the whole team. Doctor Strange forms protection spells for each of them, and I like how each has a different pattern. Like there's a 5-pointed star, a 6-pointed one, some suns. I assume each using mysticism from a different tradition. And actually later we see the 5-pointed stars for Captain Carter, as if her protection is linked with Steve Rogers. Both T'Challa and Killmonger have the sun pattern, maybe a nod to their African roots. A series of squares and a kind of Norse runic pattern. And Gamora gets the interlaid triangles with nodes around the circumference, evoking an alien Sicarian design. And
Interesting. Interesting, wow.
Getting Thor a winged crown, Killmonger and Gamora shoulder armor, and T'Challa in a crown and an extra layer on his necklace, as he is the rightful king of Wakanda. And Peggy has some chunky medieval-looking armor for her English roots. Strange's squid demon from episode 4 emerges from his hand. Peggy, who later stares down this beast in the final battle, recognizes this anatomy as some that she fought in episode 1, perhaps the same type of elder god being as Shumagora.
Oh.
Can I ask, what happened?
Same thing that happened to you.
Strange gives a toast.
A wise sorcerer once told me that to face death is part of the plan. To face death is to conquer one's greatest fear of the unknown, of nothingless space.
Yeah, it sounds like he's trying to quote the Ancient One's death speech.
Death is what gives life meaning. To know your days are numbered, your time is short.
Ultron finds them first as a giant face in the sky, as the Watcher usually does, but way bigger, and he arrives through an interdimensional portal with that crystalline texture, showing his mastery now over the multiverse as on par with the Watcher. Now, Ultron uses a fun combination of the Soul, Reality, and Power Stones, but not the Space Stone, to crumble the mountain that they're standing on. I suppose the Soul Stone in this case to isolate which souls under which the ground will warp the reality of. And
Interesting.
Get all at whom. The Soul Stone is just always a weird one to judge the functionality of. We really just saw it when Thanos used it to isolate which Strange was the real one in the Wizard Duel in Infinity War. Actually, Strange uses that same Images of Icon spell to duplicate Mjolnir and swarm them around Ultron. Strange magics up Peggy's shield to create a Mjolnir plus shield shockwave, and then she hitches a ride back with one of the Mjolnirs the way Spider-Man did in Endgame. T'Challa grabs Ultron and gets thrown off. You can actually see the moment that he snatches the Soul Stone.
Interesting.
And it's pretty impressive because he does it with the hand that he's holding a blaster with.
Nice,
Then
very nice.
3 demon dragons. We actually saw him absorb 2 of these in episode 4, which I thought was redundant animation.
Interesting.
No, 3
Interesting.
dragon heads are better than 1. Strange opens a portal from the zombie universe. The first ones to fall on Ultron are Zombie Cat, Zombie.
Oh, I did not notice that.
Hawkeye.
That's-
Zombie Cat was
that's
down the
funny.
Body, I guess, just don't think about it. Thousands of pour out and pile up. But
True.
One of them is Zombie Wanda Maximoff, who should have the power to break an Infinity Stone like she did the Mind Stone of Vision's head in Infinity War, but she softens briefly. Maybe because she recognizes this red synthezoid face as that of her love Vision, but Ultron uses his hesitancy to blow up the freaking planet. And as they exit through the portal, Thor does a backwards jump, just like Peter Quill did in Infinity War, and they return to Ultron's home reality on post-apocalyptic Earth to crush the stone. From the signs, this actually looks like Tokyo. Peggy needs to prove to Natasha that she knows her.
Your father is Ivan, your dad's Alexei,
And you're the one woman I trust to have my 6.
She uses Red Skull's genealogy from Endgame, daughter of Ivan. But it's interesting that Peggy would know that because Natasha did not know it. But then, yes, of course, her da being Alexei, and not Alexei Shostakov, her fake dad of KGB from Black Widow. Ultron flips out.
That part was cool. That part was really, really cool.
Wait, what? Yeah, good question. Well, it's because Strange still has the power of the Time Stone, as we see later in this battle, meaning that he could rewind Ultron's explosion the way Thanos rewinded Wanda blowing up the Mind Stone, and then consume the Boom Boom, the way he did all of those demons. Peggy says,
Give him all you got. Don't give him a chance to think.
Which also tells us a bit about their strategy, right? It's not about beating Ultron head-to-head. It's about overwhelming him so that he cannot process his next move. And like the Avengers dogpiling on Thanos on Titan, we get this awesome long take of each of them landing their blows on Ultron, followed by another long take, but just on the close-up of the Soul Stone.
That was cool.
People fight over it. I love using the Soul Stone as a synecdoche for all of their souls. The Watcher's soul, the soul of the multiverse. This is the stone that we've seen the least of in the MCU, representing the whole of it in this battle. Ultron uses the Time Stone to suspend them all in slow motion while he reclaims the Soul Stone, but Strange uses his own Time Stone to neutralize this spell. This is the first time we have seen one Infinity Stone used against a variant universe Infinity Stone, so by this logic, duplicate stones do retain their power even when they share a universe. But so far, I guess when one is used against the other, it just cancels each other out. Ultron grows big, and Strange allows those demons
good
to
point.
take over, which the artist showed with this amazing effect. Probably my favorite shot of the episode. The energy splitting the frame into different states of being for Strange. One layer showing Strange, the layer underneath showing his demonic form. It's just a really tactile expression of
I
Strange.
think it's a really cool shot.
Ripping himself apart to do this. They pin Ultron and use the Infinity Crusher, but
Every universe is different. Each one is a fraction unique.
The Crusher was designed to destroy the stones on my world, not his.
Yes, of course, the framing matches the Avengers circle up shot in the first Avengers film. And here, this episode establishes yet another bit of Infinity Stone rulemaking. While duplicate stones can both function in a shared universe, they can only be destroyed by something from their same home universe. Okay. Natasha uses the arrow with Zola's AI from episode 8, a shot that, if you think about it, she only had because Ultron in this moment is focusing mostly on Strange, leaves some blind spots. And I think this is, again, part of the Watcher's plan to delay Natasha's ace in her hole to the last minute like this. Peggy uses the arrow to take out one of Ultron's eyes, and in this moment you can see how the Infinity Stones are now glowing somewhat duller after this point, because in Ultron's mind, his Ultron consciousness is battling with the Zola AI, and Zola uses the same kind of snaky neuron bolt attacks that Ultron used to kill Jarvis, and I love how those 8 strands match the 8 tentacles of the Hydra sigil. Ultron is dead, but Killmonger still has that head with Ultron's consciousness left glowing in it, and his vibranium link allows him control of the Reality Stone to assemble his own Killmonger Infinity armor. That was the Flula Flute, which composer Ludwig Göransson used as Killmonger's unique sound in Black Panther, Peter and the Wolf style, and that riff sounded like a real victorious but also belligerent blow, expressing Killmonger being drunk on power here. The Killmonger Infinity is challenged.
I am afraid that armor belongs to me.
Finally, Zola's android form from the comics with his face in the tummy, a design teased as an Easter egg in the first cap. Coming to life, and they
interesting.
With this little rift in space, kind of evoking their Big Bang.
That was neat.
I like that touch. But Strange realizes
We were never meant to win. We were here to separate the stones from the body.
And so he creates a pocket dimension around them, trapping them both.
He foresaw every moment from the failed Infinity Crusher to Killmonger's betrayal and your sacrifice.
Yes, one wonders how far back the Watcher's plan went. Was it to his team up with Doctor Strange, or even before that? And with this episode titled, What If the Watcher Broke His Oath, we never really see the consequences of that broken oath. I do plan to explore the Watcher's full plan and his next steps in a video coming soon. They all return to their home realities, but Peggy Carter wants to go back to the 40s.
Haven't I earned my happy ending?
For reasons I assume we will see in Season 2, since Captain Carter is confirmed as a focal character for this whole series, and will likely be linked with the rediscovery of Steve in the Hydra Stomper armor in the post-credit scene. Meanwhile, Black Widow, he allows to join the one episode not referenced thus far in the finale, Episode 3, which ended with Nick Fury teaming up Steve Rogers with Carol Danvers to fight Loki's takeover of Earth. This SHIELD helicarrier is numbered 64, the same number from the first Avengers film, and this could provide one way Natasha Romanoff could ever return in live action, especially now that Scarlett Johansson has wonderfully settled resolve her legal troubles with Disney, thanks to millions of dollars in a payout. And we're left with the Watcher saying,
This story is my home, and I will protect it to the end.
just like he said to Natasha.
Your stories, they are everything to me.
I love this because, yes, while we have seen the Watcher as a kind of creepy, voyeuristic figure, his sudden vulnerability here gives us permission to have emotional attachments to the stories that we watch. Yeah, it's okay to see pieces of ourselves in the wins and losses of our heroes, because why are any of us here if not to stir something inside of each other? And with that, I want to thank you all so much for playing Watcher to this whole season of coverage of Marvel's What If, these breakdowns and our Inside Marvel after shows. It's just been a delight unpacking it all together, trying to keep up with its elusive Infinity Stone logic. And if you want to support us, the best way to do it is by checking out our merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EA Voss. Follow and subscribe to New Rockstars. Thanks again for watching. Bye.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, like, the way they ended that whole thing was just fantastic. Like, giving us something to, like, grab onto. Yeah. It's like, it's weird. It's like, I love how they progressed with the Watcher from, you know, the way he was in the first episode to really progressing into a actual character in the last one. Like, that was really, really neat. And, like, I was, like, thinking, like, with that, with Black Widow and them bringing that character into that universe, is like, that would be cool if they had brought her into the live action one. I'm kind of wondering what they're gonna do with Captain Carter, because, like, I know there was, like, rumors that she might appear in, like, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm actually really excited about that. That's gonna be an enjoyable, fun time. So, yeah, anyways, guys, that was my reaction to the finale of What If for New Rockstars Breakdown. I just want to say to those who have made it to the end of the video, I appreciate it. You can go ahead and check out my channel for other reactions like this. I also have top 10s, movie reviews, and a bunch of other film-related content. If you are a returning subscriber, I really appreciate you. If you are new to subscribing, don't forget to click the bell to get notified of future videos. I also have a Patreon if you'd like to support me over there. I give early access to videos. I also have a Twitter that you can follow me on. I give updates to the vids as well as me talking about my favorite movie news. And I have a Discord that you can join and interact with me and a bunch of other people. So, just want to say one last time, I appreciate you all. Stay random.